They blamed me. Every headline, every late-night joke, every so-called expert on TV pointed their finger at me. But while they were busy blaming me, Joe Biden was quietly crashing America's economy. I remember the moment it really hit me. I was standing alone, early in the morning. The room was quiet, too quiet. The kind of silence where you can almost hear your own thoughts breathing. Outside, the city sounded different, less confident, more tired. I looked at the numbers on my desk, and my stomach tightened. Something was very wrong. They told you the economy was strong. They told you inflation was temporary. They told you everything was under control. But I've been in business my entire life. I know when the math doesn't add up. And this time, it wasn't just bad math, it was denial. Gas prices climbing. Grocery bills getting heavier every week. Rent squeezing families until there's nothing left to squeeze. Have you felt it? Standing in a store, holding the same items you bought last year, wondering how the total doubled without warning? That shock, that quiet panic, that's not imaginary. That's policy. They blamed me while Biden smiled at the camera. Behind closed doors, the warnings were everywhere. Economists whispering instead of speaking out loud. Business owners calling me, their voices low, frustrated, scared. I could almost smell the anxiety in those conversations, like cold coffee and stale air in an office that hasn't slept in weeks. I warned them. I said reckless spending would explode inflation. I said attacking American energy would punish working families. I said flooding the system with money would make every dollar weaker. They laughed. Then came the bills. Trillions upon trillions, pushed through like nothing mattered. No buttocks. No fear. Just applause from people who would never pay the price. But you paid it. You're still paying it. I watched factories slow down. I watched small businesses, good people, strong people, start cutting hours, then jobs. The sound of machines stopping is something you don't forget. It's like a heartbeat fading out. They told you it was Putin's fault. They told you it was global. They told you it was out of our control. That's when I knew the truth was being buried. Because leadership isn't about excuses. It's about responsibility. And Biden never took it. At night, I replayed those early decisions in my head. The pipeline, the regulations, the endless spending. Each one felt like a door closing. One by one, slowly, until the room got darker. Let me ask you something. If this economy is doing so well, why does everyone feel poorer? That question haunted me. Families choosing between gas and groceries. Seniors watching their savings shrink while politicians tell them to be patient. Young people realizing the American dream costs more than they'll ever make. This wasn't an accident. This was predictable. And the worst part? They knew. I heard it in private conversations. Saw it in nervous glances. Felt it in the way advisors avoided certain charts. The truth was there, hiding in plain sight like a crack in a wall they kept painting over. Short sentences now. Because this part matters. The economy didn't fail overnight. It was pushed. Slowly. Carefully. Quietly. While the media screamed my name, Biden's policies did the real damage. I could smell the ink on the executive orders. Fresh. Rushed. Careless. Each signature heavier than the last. And still, they blamed me. They said I left a mess. But what I left was momentum. What they created was collapse. Momentum doesn't vanish unless someone slams the brakes, and Biden slammed them hard. I've made mistakes in my life. I'll own that. But destroying an economy that was working, that takes effort. Sometimes I wonder, if people had seen the numbers earlier, if the truth hadn't been hidden behind slogans and smiles, would any of this have been allowed to happen? Because here's the part they never talk about. The part that keeps me awake. There was a moment, one decision, one meeting, where this could have gone a completely different direction. I know exactly when it was. I know exactly what was said. And when that truth comes out, everything they told you about Biden's economy will fall apart. But not yet. People think economic collapse is loud. It isn't. It's quiet. It sneaks in while politicians celebrate. While headlines distract you with drama. While they tell you to look somewhere else. I started noticing it in the smallest details. The kind nobody puts on a chart. The pauses in conversations. The hesitation before someone answers a simple question like, "How's business?" Before, people answered fast. Confident. Proud. Now they paused. That pause, that's fear thinking. I get calls from people I've known for decades. Builders, manufacturers, truckers, real Americans. Their voices didn't sound angry anymore. Anger has energy. What I heard was worse, resignation. Donald, they'd say, we're barely holding on. You don't forget that tone. And while that was happening, Biden was on stage, smiling, telling you everything was fine. He talked about jobs numbers, big numbers, impressive numbers. But here's what they don't tell you. When inflation eats your paycheck, a job doesn't mean security anymore. It means survival. Have you noticed how working harder doesn't feel like it moves you forward anymore? That's not laziness. That's erosion. The value of work was being diluted. Slowly, relentlessly, like pouring water in a wine until all you taste is water, but they keep calling it vintage. I watched the Federal Reserve panic without admitting they were panicking. Interest rates climbing fast and faster. Mortgages suddenly unreachable. Dreams postponed, then canceled. A house isn't just a house. It's a promise. And Biden broke that promise for an entire generation. I remember walking through a factory once. The air smelled like oil and hot metal. Machines humming. Pride everywhere. That same factory called me later. They shut down one line. Then another. Temporary, they said. Everything is temporary until it isn't. You want to know the cruelest part? They blame supply chains. As if supply chains just decide to collapse on their own. Supply chains break when leadership breaks. Energy costs skyrocketed. Trucks cost more to run. Shipping costs more. Everything costs more. And suddenly, it's your fault for noticing. They told you to lower your expectations. That's when I knew we had crossed a line. America doesn't lower expectations. We raise standards. But Biden's America? It taught people to accept less and call it progress. At night, I'd sit there replaying speeches I gave years ago. Warnings I was mocked for. Energy independence. Strong borders. America first. They laughed. They called it simple. Too simple. Funny thing about simple ideas, they work. Biden reversed them fast. Almost aggressively. Like he was erasing something, not improving it. And the economy reacted instantly. Markets hate uncertainty. Businesses hate confusion. Families hate lies. This administration offered all three. Let me tell you something most people don't understand. Markets aren't numbers. They're emotions, confidence, trust. And Biden destroyed trust. You could feel it the day investors stopped believing what they were being told. The volatility, the sudden drops, the nervous rebounds that never lasted. It was like watching a patient wake up during surgery. Pain everywhere. I'd ask advisors, how bad is it really? They'd look away before answering. That's when you know. Inflation wasn't just high. It was sticky. It didn't come down when they promised. It lingered. It followed people home. Into kitchens. Into rent payments. Into credit card bills. People stopped planning vacations. Then stopped saving. Then stopped believing. That's how an economy dies. Not in flames, but in doubt. Meanwhile, Biden kept spending. Every new package felt heavier than the last. Like stacking bricks on a table with cracked legs. Anyone could see how this would end. But they clapped anyway. Why? Because none of them pay the price. You do. I've been accused of being blunt. Fine. I'll be blunt now. This wasn't incompetence. This was ideology. They believed government could replace growth. That regulation could replace innovation. That debt didn't matter. Reality disagreed. And reality always wins. Small businesses were the first casualties. They don't have lobbyists. They don't get bailouts. When costs rise, they bleed first. I heard stories that never made the news. Families selling equipment. Owners skipping paychecks. People who survived COVID only to be crushed by policy. That's Biden's legacy. They told you the pain was worth it. For the future. For the climate. For fairness. But fairness doesn't mean everyone gets poorer together. And the future doesn't forgive destroyed foundations. Do you remember how confident America felt before? That energy? That belief that tomorrow would be better? That wasn't an illusion. It was momentum. Biden killed momentum. And here's the part that really angers me. They pretended not to notice. They gaslit you.